This Racecraft TV stream is brought to you by Artesian Builds. Artesian builds high-quality custom PCs made to order for a low price. Contact Artesian Builds today to get started on your own custom PC as low as $64 a month. All Artesian builds are made live on stream. You can watch your builds and talk to the builders live at twitch.tv/Artesian Builds. For more information about Artesian Builds, check the link in the description. Howdy, everybody, and welcome to the Triple M Pulling Truck Series for the first round of the playoffs. I'm Austin Knight. I'm joined by Austin Knight, with Austin Knight joining me as well, as it's pretty much me here tonight here on Racecraft TV. It's a great night, great afternoon here in Chicago at beautiful Chicagoland. And we are looking for a great race here tonight for the first round to start off our playoffs here at the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. 16 drivers showed up. And, 16 playoff drivers are here now. And all of our playoff drivers have yellow spoilers. But also on our timing tower, they have yellow numbers for everybody in the audience to enjoy and know who is in the playoffs right now. We're currently here in qualifying, so let's go out on track right now and take a look at who is stacking up where. So currently Bradley Wilson leading the charge right now, as he's also leading the championship. Let's take a look at Mike Adminson, one of our playoff drivers as well, and that number 8, the 44-year-old from Sanford, Florida, sponsor Over the Top Designs. He's on that back straight here in Chicago, and just listen to that engine purr, baby. Turns 3 and 4, and on the apron, Mike Adamson comes across the line and jump up into 9th place here, and immediately gets it taken away from Cody Knott, one of the non-playoff drivers here, the 26-year-old from Madera, California, driving that Chevy Silverado and making it look nice right there. Also, Tyler Daniels making a good move for them, and I really want to see how these non-playoff drivers do against some of the top guys in the series. Keith Bradley in that 18. Just keeping that winning and reverse car scheme. I think that he's always had that yellow spoiler. Just coming out of turns 3 and 4, across the line, getting all the way down to the apron. Totally legal here. Keith Bradley jumps up into 11th place. Also, we saw Brandon Bullock get up there to 14th. Dale Adminson, 16-year-old, one of the youngest drivers we have in the entire Triple M pulling grid. Also from Sanford, Florida. Son of Michael Adminson, who's currently sitting in 10th place. And Dale's going to come across the line right now, and he's currently sits 21st place. And Zach Adams started with a new paint scheme, and I gotta say, it's working very good. Blake Lothian jumps up into 3rd place in that 59 Toyota Tundra. And just look at the times right there. Top 5 all within 100th of a second with each other. And then Wilson and McKinnon almost exactly tied on time. 31.11 officially, as Zach Adams is doing the biggest fuel burn I've ever seen somebody do. But he is the last driver out there on track right now. And well, let's give Zach a little bit of airtime as we go into his cockpit. And Zach's not feeling comfortable with the setup. He's going to bring it into the pit lane, and I don't believe he's going to be setting a time here today, which will disqualify him for the Southern Auto Glass Hard Charger Award, which be very easy for me because it's only Zach Adams who has not set a qualifying lap. We have 26 drivers, 25 of them has set a qualifying lap. From Stephen Gregory at the end of the grid, all the way to Bradley Wilson and Michael Buchanan tied at the top. Wilson said it first, so he's going to have advantage with the time. But everybody topping out at speeds at around 187 miles an hour, 189. I'm getting on Brandon Bullock's side. Christopher Cinnamon is still out there in that number 3. He's doing a little bit of pit stop practice right now. A little bit of a lockup on that right side in that very classic number 3. Hope y'all are having a great Friday night. It's the weekend and the start of spring here. And, oh, that Chicago sun is just absolutely beautiful right there. And it's 77 degrees out here on the track. 56% humidity, cloudy skies with a dew point of 1004. And we got a little bit of a breeze going on, 11 miles an hour going about westward-wise. And that will be heading into turns 1 and 2. Here in Chicago. Actually, no, that'll be turns 3 and 4 here in Chicago. I am not looking at this thing in a mirror. I'm looking at it in a little bit weird ways. But sunset here, May 15th, 2021. We're in the past. I didn't hop into a DeLorean and create a time machine. No, we are not in a time machine. But qualifying is over as we get ready to see our starting grid here in Chicago. Starting up on pole, it's Bradley Wilson, followed by Michael McKinnon, Blake Lothian, Dan Gallant, Stephen Thomas, Taylor Peacock, Tyler Daniels, Tyler Dittmer, Dustin Scruggs, and Cody Knott fill out our top 10, followed by Mike Adminson and Keith Bradley. Both of them, the Mission 1 Esport boys, starting in the 6th row. Behind them is Robert Richards, Chris Cinnamon, Brendan Bullock, Jonathan Munda, Dane Hagan, Jesse Siraj, Ben Godoyski, Jeff Sickles, Dale Adminson, Rob Meza, Joey Duquette, and Eric Zimmerman in 24th place. In the final row, it's Stephen Gregory and Zach Adams, 2 playoff drivers, filling out the end of the grid. They're going to be playing a very dangerous game back there. But Chicago is known for tire wear, so they might have a strategy going forward as we are here in the beautiful Chicago Motor Speedway. Chicagoland is treating us very nicely here today as we are just waiting for our drivers behind our Toyota Camry. Back to this joke again. Our iRacing sedan pace car. And since I don't have anyone to riff off of, I'm just going to be calling it the pace car. Let's go on board of our pole sitter, Bradley Wilson, as they bring out the Shenandoah sign helmet clear visor here tonight in that 51. As our lights come on, and let's get ready to go racing here at Chicago. pulling off. Look at this crowd. Capacity crowd here in Chicago. No need for any social distancing here in iRacing. Is always a plus. It's always nice to see those stands full and vibrant right there as they drive over turn 1 and those new patches there in turn 1 and 2. Chicago not being used in real life anymore by NASCAR, but we like to come back here in the virtual world because this is honestly a very fan favorite track. I love this track a lot. I love how unique it is, especially on that back straight where it's not really a straight. It's got a little bit of a curve to it, and it doesn't really flatten out right here. So it's going to be a very interesting race here. Michael McKinnon, Bradley Wilson, our front row, and it's first round of the playoffs. Who's it going to be here in 134 laps in Chicagoland? Pace car pulls off, and it is green here in Chicago, and it's a great start by Bradley Wilson. 2x2 they go. Was playing a lot of games right here. Bradley Wilson gets a good run. Lothian on that bottom row, already getting a great run as everyone's going to try to go to the top line, and Lothian is trying to edge out McKinnon. He's already done that. Lothian's up into second place. Tyler Dittmer already looking a little bit feisty. He's going for a little bit of 3-wide action. As side by side they go for the lead. Lothian and Wilson. Lothian wants that lead up at the start of this race, and he gets his nose ahead of him. His car sideways just a little bit side by side at the bottom of turn 1. They're going to dive all the way down to the tri-oval side by side as Lothian and Wilson race along with each other with that new aero model. Wilson's going to be getting some help from Michael McKinnon right behind him. Back straight. The higher you exit, the better your... Well, the higher you exit, the better your exits will be as Lothian goes back behind Wilson as Wilson has the lead of this race dominantly. We still got some other cars out there still side by side. Dan Gallen and Taylor Peacock are having a little bit of side by side with... Actually, no, that's Stephen Thomas and Dan Gallen as Taylor Peacock, straight cash money, is just chilling with them right there. And oh no, immediately massive crash coming onto the backstretch. Multiple cars involved. Dustin Scruggs involved. Adminson's involved. Massive playoff implications right here. Dan Gallant, Michael Adminson, Joey Duquette involved. Big crash at the start of this race. All happening right in front of Taylor Peacock. And here's what happened. Stephen Thomas and Dan Gallant got into each other, and Tyler Dittmer was just along for the ride right there. But a big hit throughout the field. And let's take a look at what happened to Stephen Thomas, who was, I think, might be the cause of this, but coming up on Dan Gallant right there, coming out of turns. Yep, he thought he was clear, came up there, and massive spinner Rooney and massive caution here at the start of the race. Multiple cars pounding into, I think that might have been Dustin Scruggs who is in there. But as we go back to live pictures, a few cars entering pit lane. No faster pairs here or there. Gallant, Thomas, Sickles, Addison, Scruggs, Bullock, Michael Addison, Hagen, Gregory, Zimmerman, Peacock, and Dittmer all into the pit lane here in Chicago. You're here watching Racecraft TV, and we'll be right back when we go back to green flag racing for the Triple M Pulling Truck Series here at Chicagoland. This Racecraft TV stream is brought to you by Artesian Builds. Artesian builds high-quality custom PCs made to order for a low price. Contact Artesian Builds today to get started on your own custom PC as low as $64 a month. All Artesian builds are made live on stream. You can watch your builds and talk to the builders live at twitch.tv/Artesian Builds. For more information about Artesian Builds, check the link in the description. Welcome back to Racecraft TV. We're back here live at Chicago. Lights are out on the pace car. We're getting ready to go back to green flag racing after a massive crash that leads 17 drivers still on the lead lap, and a few drivers with some damage they're going to have to deal with. Lights are out on the pace car. We're going back to green. It's an early start by Bradley Wilson, giving him a great jump ahead of Blake Lothian, who cuts right across the nose of Michael McKinnon in our top four, sitting nose to tail right now. As back in the field, we're still side by side. We see the 00, Jonathan Munda and Ben Gnoisky racing in and out right now. And Gnoisky on that outside line being very good. But look at this front pack. Lothian and Wilson side by side. Lothian getting a good run on Wilson as Bradley and McKinnon getting a good run on each other side by side for the lead. And Lothian trying to hold off that lead right now and gain that spot on Bradley Wilson, who just seems whenever he gets into the lead, he just stays there for the entire race until something happens. And it's looking very nicely for both of them. Little bit of a wiggle from Lothian on the bottom, as Wilson stays on top, and they got Keith Bradley right behind him as well. Oh, Lothian got onto the apron right there, had to catch himself, went into a slide, falling down to second place, but I think he's going to fall all the way down to third place as we got some lap traffic staying on the high side. Hope everyone keeping their head on a swivel right now, as our top four starting to have a little bit of a breakaway from the rest of the pack. I gotta say, look at this bump drive by Lothian. They want this front pack to pull away fast from the rest of the field. And hey, when you gotta work together to make this work. And actually, that was Keith Bradley doing the bump drafting. Bradley up in a second now. Keith Bradley, we know how he likes to race, work it out, make some moves, get that nose onto the bumper, and pull away from everybody else. And see Michael McKinnon, he's already looking like he's being dropped. But, you know, you got to work your tires here. You got to manage them. Got to be nice to them. Got to sing a little kumbaya to them. Got to give it a little bedtime story when you race here. As we are 1/3 of the way through stage 1. 20 more laps to go. Keith Bradley's getting a little bit dicey. He's looking down to the inside, getting some side drafts from Wilson. Keith Bradley, he's going to go for the lead. He dives it down to the inside and cuts off the nose of Wilson. Keith Bradley running that Bill Lester, winning in reverse scheme, as here comes Wilson looking down to the inside of Bradley. Bradley favoring that high line. Wilson staying down low, but Wilson gets a little bit up there on Bradley. There's a bit of a slide jump, but Bradley's carrying the speed out of that corner and up near that wall. That exit is so good for managing your tires. Wilson holding down that bottom line. We saw Lothian get a little bit loose. Here comes Bradley now on Wilson. Wilson takes the lead. He's going to lead this lap, and our front three leaders all nose to gearbox with each other. Down the field, we got side-by-side racing Zach Adams. He started in last place, up into 11th now as he goes down to the inside and chops the nose of the 16 of Joey Duquette, who was involved in that opening incident. Duquette went into the pits. Zach Adams also went into the pits that time as well. It says Zach Adams been into the pits twice, so Zach Adams, I don't see any damage on that 71, but he might have gone in there just to test something. As we got a car in the wall up ahead, that was Stephen Gregory. Gregory's having some struggle with the car. Keith Bradley and Bradley Wilson side by side for the lead as they head into lap 15. And ooh, Wilson had a big checkup right there. Here comes Lothian almost getting into this bumper. Lothian's going on to the outside. Lothian almost getting into the wall as they're still side by side. For second place between Lothian and Wilson. Lothian holding around the outside. What a move on Wilson. Just take second place up there. Right on board of Lothian and Bradley. You're going to see the bumps on this track affecting on how drivers take each turn and deal with it. And what kind of goes into a driver's mind when they know that they have just a few more laps here in this stage. And they got to keep it clean. But the Overtops design car of Keith Bradley in the lead. Ahead of Lothian, gets a little bit loose onto this non-straight back straight. Very nice feature here in Chicago with his progressive banking. And here goes Lothian down low on Keith Bradley. Lothian still keeping that lead, but Bradley staying on to the banking, using that exit speed of his to carry it around the outside. And he hit the turns 1 and 2. And here comes Bradley Wilson behind Keith Bradley. He's up in that draft. He's got that outside line. Wilson trying to get ahead of Lothian and get back into second place. And he's going to do that right there. Almost gets into Matthew McKinnon. Almost got into the back of Blake Lothian right there. He's been on a good run. He's been saving his tires. But here comes Robert Richards as well on the inside of Michael McKinnon. All three of these guys, we now got a 6-car pack up here in the lead here in Chicago. And Chris Cinnamon is staying out of that draft. I don't think he wants to do anything, but Robert Richards and that slightly dangerous Clemson University 48, he's definitely looking a little bit spicy right there. I think he wants to get past Michael McKinnon and try to challenge for this lead. As we're coming up to 20, nope, not 20, coming up to lap 20 of 134, but lap 20 out of 30 here in stage number 1. We got a lapped car down low. That is Eric Zimmerman. As all the leaders forced to take that higher line, we're going to see if anyone's going to try to get some early draft opportunities, some cheeky draft opportunities on a car on the bottom line, but it's not going to be looking like that, as everyone's staying in that single file formation right there. And here they go. As soon as they cleared that lap car, they all dive down low to get some advantage off the draft and to cool off the radiators in case they've been nose to tail with somebody else and might have some front end damage, but I don't believe anyone in this front pack has front end damage, but it's definitely split them up just a little bit, as all these cars that were involved in that earlier crash are multiple laps down now and just trying to finish this race with as much experience on track as they can and much advantage over the other playoff drivers that were involved. 16 playoff drivers in this race, and the racers involved in the pit lane are Brandon Bullock, Dustin Scruggs, and Dan Gallant. Out of this race, playoff drivers, they're still in the pits, and I don't believe they're coming out. Stephen Thomas also involved in that crash, but he's brought his car out there. He's trying to be a few points ahead of Gallant, Scruggs, and Bullock at the end of this race, and that might help him if this comes down to a close fight as well. Mike Addison, he was involved in there. He's trying to pull himself out of the gutter, as well as long as Taylor Peacock and Tyler Dittmer. So multiple drivers involved in the playoffs going to be driving hard to try to say this, as, ooh, Tyler Daniels behind Stephen Thomas, and oh, Gnoisky hits the wall right there. As Stephen Thomas is on a charge. Actually, is that Thomas? Yes, this is Stephen Gregory, not Stephen Thomas. They both start with S right there. But Thomas, he's on a new set of tires. He's been saving his tires. He's moving up through the field. I said Thomas again. I meant Gregory. Gregory's up there in the 7th place now. And you can see that leading pack right ahead of him, but this pack is pretty much split up now as they were able to get a good speed throughout the race. And now they got 5 laps to go here in Chicago for stage number 1 on Racecraft TV. And Stephen Gregory makes up another spot up into 8th. And look at this 3-wide action through turns 1 and 2. Ganoisi up near the wall on the outside of Zach Adams. We got a slow car down low. That is the NASA car. And Ganoisi gets a little bit loose. Zach Adams cuts through there. But Stephen Gregory is currently your leader for the Southern Autoglass Hard Charger Award. Up 17 spots from where they start. And Zach Adams is also 17 spots up from where they started, but since they did not put in a valid qualifying lap, they are disqualified for running in this contest as Ganoisi is in the wall as well as Tyler Daniels. And Tyler Daniels took a big hit right there. Daniels is in the grass. Daniels is into the pink side. Big hit for Tyler Daniels, who is stopped in the infield. No caution. And as we go back to our leaders with 3 laps to go, Wilson and Bradley side by side. Keith Bradley and Bradley Wilson, they don't get confused by that, are side by side for the lead as they go for a little switchback. Wilson going down low. Keith Bradley going down low as Wilson stays up high, heading into turns 3 and 4. Wilson's got the speed off the exit through the mid corner now. But Keith Bradley, he is strategizing. He is hungry for that stage win on Bradley Wilson. Bradley Wilson, no stage win, no race wins at all. Will this be the race where that actually happens? But also another driver. Here comes Lothian looking down to the inside. Lothian's looking feisty right now, and I think Lothian is strategizing on where he wants to go, and he's making his move right now. He sat behind Bradley long enough. He's going to go down low, but look at that outside line of Keith Bradley work it. Car entering the pits in front of our drivers was Jeff Sickles. 2 laps to go here in Chicago for stage number 1. Green and white flag flies into the air right now. It is 1 lap to go here at stage number 1. The cameras are flashing as Bradley Wilson leads out this group, followed by Keith Bradley and Blake Lothian, our top 3. As Wilson enters turns 3 and 4, he's going to take the green and white checkered flag as stage number 1 comes to an end here in Chicago. And it goes to Bradley Wilson winning another stage, followed by Keith Bradley, Blake Lothian, Michael McKinnon, Robert Richards, Chris Cinnamon, Stephen Gregory, and Jesse Siraj in 8th place. Zach Adams and Joey Duquette in 10th place. Those are your stage points awarders. And 8 playoff drivers getting some extra points for the playoffs here. And that's going to be giving them an advantage. You're here watching Racecraft TV for the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. We'll be right back for the start of stage number 2.
Let's face it, to build a new website or redesign your existing site, you have 2 options. You can start by learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, SEO, SQL, CMS, well, you get the idea. Or you can be smarter and look for someone who is a professional in web design like Sneed Competition Design. We are experienced in building quality websites for our clients. We always start with strategy and planning to build a clear vision about what you need. Your website will then be passed on to the design and development phase, where we will ensure that you get a fully responsive design that is easy to use regardless of any device using the latest tools in web development. Contact us today, and let's talk about accelerating your business to the next level by creating a complete online solution.
This Racecraft TV stream is brought to you by Artesian Builds. Artesian builds high-quality custom PCs made to order for a low price. Contact Artesian Builds today to get started on your own custom PC as low as $64 a month. All Artesian builds are made live on stream. You can watch your builds and talk to the builders live at twitch.tv/Artesian Builds. For more information about Artesian Builds, check the link in the description. Welcome back to Racecraft TV. It's the end of stage number 1 as we look at the field as they continue their caution right now as the lights are about to go out. The pace car, we got another lap going on. Bradley Wilson still leads. We want to take this time to say pay our respects to Sean Jenkins that unfortunately passed away yesterday. Grace Atkins told me to bring that up right there. Sean was a good person, and he will be missed. So we're going to be paying respects to Sean Jenkins this lap. We finished out that lap. Want to say once again, Sean, you will be missed as Bradley Wilson and Blake Lothian take out the front row as the lights go out on our iRacing pace car. And yes, I did see that. Whoever just... I did see that message in chat. You're trying to kill me up here. Aw. Oh. Professional. Well, lights are out on the pace car as we enter turns 3 and 4. Let's get ready to rock and roll here in Chicago for the start of stage number 2. 25 laps left. It's got to green. And it's immediately Bradley Wilson taking the lead from Lottie with another great start, but it's side-by-side action throughout the field as they go back to green flag race. But just look at that top 4 already. We're 3 wide down the grid. And that's Keith Bradley stuck on the outside. Keith Bradley didn't have the best pit stop. Keith Bradley, Tyler Dittmer, and Taylor Peacock 3 wide, but Bradley, who finished 2nd in the stage, is all the way down in 13th. What has happened to Keith Bradley in his pit stop? Might have had a little bit of damage. I'm seeing 15 seconds in the pits, so he might have got an EOL. I am not sure, but that is not where he wants to be behind all this traffic at the start of stage number 2 as he's behind Ben Ganoisky and Jonathan Munda. He's looking for another 3 wide. Actually, he's staying on to the outside line currently, but he has the opportunity to move down low if needed to. Bradley looking for another 3 wide. Purple sector by Cody Knott. Actually, purple lap, fastest lap of the race. As they go 3 wide behind him, Keith Bradley sneaking up the inside. And Ben Kanoyski, sparks are flying up ahead. As that was Zach Adams getting into the wall. And you can see that front right side of his car, he's got a lot of damage right there as he's falling down the field fast. Joey Duquette in that 16 purple machine. On the inside of Stephen Gregory, our current hard charger. Ward leader at 18 spots gain. He's going to chop the nose off and secure his spot in 6th place as Keith Bradley is getting another spot on Zach Adams, who had that incident. Robert Richards and Stephen Gregory are side by side as well, as this is our farthest up side by side battle for 7th place. Richards getting a little bit loose off that bottom line, almost pushing Gregory up into the wall. But they continue to race on right there. But it looks like Gregory has had a little bit of contact with the wall. Look at that front right side. It's a little bit chewed up as he's following Robert Richards. But that front right side of his truck is going to be very exposed and not helping him in the straights, or maybe giving him a little bit of suspension damage right there. He's still driving the truck all right. Let's ride on board and see how he's handling it. He's actually keeping that wheel fairly stable. He's actually counter-steering a lot. So it looks like he does have a little bit of a steering offset put in there, as he's actually counter-steering completely to the right just a little bit. But, you know, in his setup, he might be just always steering right with the steering inputs. But it looks like he might have a little bit of suspension damage going on in there for Stephen Gregory. As Bradley Wilson is pretty much checked out from the rest of the field, 8/10 ahead from 2nd place, and the rest of the gap, he's trying to clear out that draft advantage he's got, and well, continue to pull ahead and take another stage victory, which is how he's leading in the points right now. But what Wilson needs to do, he needs to win a race to secure his spot into the next round of the playoffs, because that's what you gotta do. Win it, you're in, baby. A little bit of smoke from that laps car down at the bottom. Not sure who that was. As we're looking at our fight for 3rd place as we ride on board of Chris Cinnamon behind Michael McKinnon, currently sitting in 4th, and that good wrench, number 3.
All right, man.
And caution is out for Dale Adminson, apparently. Not sure what's happened to Dale. He's in the pit lane now, but we got a Dale Adminson was the slow car on the bottom. And was he just driving slow enough to just pull out the yellow flag? Oh, yeah, he stopped his car on the tri-oval. That's technically the racetrack there, not the tri-oval. On the oval, since he wasn't below the yellow line. Caution comes out, and Dale Adamson brings out the caution here. I gotta say, debris caution almost halfway through this stage as we go back into caution on lap 45 of 60 here in stage number 2. We're going to see if anyone of our top drivers decides to go into the pit lane and tries to get a good run. Oh, yes, we do have some takers. Zach Adams and Tyler Dittmer heading into the pit lane. Well, in this weird debris caution, you're here watching Racecraft TV for the Triple M Pulling Truck Series, round 1 of the playoffs here at Chicagoland. We'll be right back after these messages. This Racecraft TV stream is brought to you by Artesian Builds. Artesian builds high-quality custom PCs made to order for a low price. Contact Artesian Builds today to get started on your own custom PC as low as $64 a month. All Artesian builds are made live on stream. You can watch your builds and talk to the builders live at twitch.tv/Artesian Builds. For more information about Artesian Builds, check the link in the description. Welcome back to Racecraft TV. We're back here live at Chicagoland. Lights go out on the pace car. We're getting ready to go back to green here on lap 48 of 134. But more importantly, that's ticked off a big advantage that Bradley Wilson has over the rest of the field. But also, the lights have come on here in Chicago as it's nighttime. Here in Chicagoland, look at that beautiful lights just illuminating the track on the outside and infield. Right now, as the iRacing pace car has its lights on, so night racing here in Chicago, as we're approaching halfway through the race, racing to lap 60, and then the end of the second stage is going to come out, and we're going to be restacking and re-racking, and to go for our final stage, which, you know, this race has been going. It's been very clean. Only one major incident, besides what just happened right there, but that was just a one-car incident. We might be seeing some big green flag stops right here, and I remember the last time the NRA Cup Series came here, it came down to a fuel run to end out the race. Pace car is in, as we're going back to green. Early restart by Wilson and Lothian as they chop the nose of McKinnon. And trying to get that big advantage off there as well as they race down into turns 1 and 2. Michael McKinnon and Chris Cinnamon side by side. But look behind them. Joey Duquette and Keith Bradley nose to tail with each other. Keith Bradley is all up in that gearbox of Joey Duquette. AC's is trying to push him as hard as he can. Here comes Keith Bradley down low. Keith Bradley making his move down low and trying to get back up to his buddies up there in front. He's trying to get some extra stage points as well. As up there is Robert Richards. Getting a good run as well, trying to get ahead of Joey Duquette and maybe start pushing Bradley along, as Bradley's got some little bit of clean air ahead, but he's going to be affected by that dirty air being thrown off of these trucks ahead of him. Robert Richards getting onto the inside of Duquette right there. Just trying to ease his way up there, but I think this lap after lap, he's going to be getting a bigger and better advantage as Keith Bradley's pretty much left him in the dust. Robert Richards right there. Yep, he's got that move done as well. Chris Cinnamon, Michael McKinnon swapping spots just a little bit. McKinnon staying ahead of Cinnamon as Lothian and Wilson. Blake Lothian for the Texas Law Book going down low with 10 laps to go for the lead here in Chicago. And he's surprisingly not going down to the trial vault onto the apron, as Wilson's going to retake the lead. I think Lothian is just favoring that outside line, favoring that tire life, and might be doing a little bit of data collection right here to see on which line is the faster line later on into the run. So, you know, Blake playing that long game strategy, as Wilson, he's going for another stage win here, as they have 8 laps to go now. And if the stage ended right there, Wilson would have won that by a nose, but Lothian's got the speed around the corners. But it's that cut into the triangle that's giving Wilson the advantage, which is going to be very critical. But look at Lothian off the speed off that corner. He's made that move work, and now he's covering off Wilson right now. This is going to be very close race for the end of this stage. Keith Bradley's rejoined Chris Cinnamon right there. He's made his way up into 4th after that speeding penalty. One of the CGE cars, very damaged Toyota Tundra down at the bottom of the track. I believe that might have been Dan Gallant, who is actually in our chat right now. Just finally got that truck repaired. 25 laps down as we go 6 laps to go here in Chicago for the end of stage number 2. Lothian and Wilson looking like our main contenders right there. 2 Toyotas leading out the field over the Silverados. Surprisingly, only 2 Fords in the race today. That belongs to Ben Ganoyski, who's got the only Ford out there on track, as Justin Scruggs is in the pits still, and I believe has retired from this race. And here comes Wilson on Lothian. Lothian and Wilson side by side. And ooh, almost getting contact right there. Lothian thought Wilson was going to go down low onto the triangle, and they almost touched right there. And you definitely do not want to take any damage in these trucks, because any sort of damage that will haunt you for the rest of this race. It would affect your aero, it would affect your tire wear, affect the way you drive that car. And you really want that clean truck right there, and especially if it's going to be affecting the way you drive, relying more on mechanical grip than aero grip from these massive spoilers that these trucks offer. And the more tire wear you have, the slower you will be, especially if you're somebody who's been managing those tires like Blake Lothian has been giving him this advantage on Wilson. And Bradley Wilson trying to find any advantage right now on Lothian as he gets all the way up to the wall, and now he's switching down low. And here comes Wilson on Lothian. Lothian holding that outside line. That outside line is so rubbered in right now on these older tires. It's just making it work. Overtime right there, as Wilson is just pounding his tires, just torturing them, staying on that low side. Lothian knows Wilson's strategy. He's going to be defending as green and white flag are in the air. 1 lap to go here at stage number 2. Wilson, Lothian, which one of our 2 leaders is going to be? Wilson's got a teammate up ahead of Dan Gallant. They're both going to go up wide. Lothian's getting a little bit loose out there. Here comes Wilson on a run. Wilson getting a good run. Wilson's looking down low at the turns 3 and 4. Wilson diving it down low. Can he hold it through the turn, though? Wilson's coming up the track. Lavien's going to hold it around to the outside. It's going to be a drag race for the end of stage number 2, but it's going to go to the 59 of Blake Lavien. What a end to stage number 2. Blake Lavien would almost lost that, but he powered it around the outside and made that work. Blake Lavien, the 59, takes the stage victory ahead of Bradley Wilson, Michael McKinnon, Keith Bradley, Chris Cinnamon, Robert Richards, Stephen Gregory, Jesse Siraj, and Zach Adams. Stephen Gregory still our leader in the Southern Autoglass Hard Charger Award. You're here watching Racecraft TV. We'll be right back for the start of stage number 3. This Racecraft TV stream is brought to you by Artesian Builds. Artesian builds high-quality custom PCs made to order for a low price. Contact Artesian Builds today to get started on your own custom PC as low as $64 a month. All Artesian builds are made live on stream. You can watch your builds and talk to the builders live at twitch.tv/Artesian Builds. For more information about Artesian Builds, check the link in the description.
Let's face it, to build a new website or redesign your existing site, you have 2 options. You can start by learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, SEO, SQL, CMS, well, you get the idea. Or you can be smarter and look for someone who is a professional in web design like Sneed Competition Design. We are experienced in building quality websites for our clients. We always start with strategy and planning to build a clear vision about what you need. Your website will then be passed on to the design and development phase, where we will ensure that you get a fully responsive design that is easy to use regardless of any device using the latest tools in web development. Contact us today, and let's talk about accelerating your business to the next level by creating a complete online solution.
Welcome back to the Triple M Pulling Truck Series here at Chicago. Bradley Wilson and Blake Lavien, they're swapping spots. Wilson got ahead of Lavien outside of the pit stall. So Wilson will be back to leading this race as they enter lap 65. 70 laps remain here in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. As, oh man, I'm getting excited just thinking about this. When are these drivers going to go into the pits? Who's going to be strategizing with who? And who's going to go out on a gamble? And are we going to be staying green for the next 70 laps? Now these drivers been going on little 30-lap sprints here and there. As let's bring up our pit strategy board. Yep, 30 laps. And I say these guys can go about a few more laps, about 40 laps on these on this fuel. So we're going to be seeing about on lap 100 when these guys have to jump into the pits right here. But Wilson, Lothian, McKinnon, Bradley, Cinnamon, and Dittmer, pretty much everybody in the field is on the same tire strategy, as Dittmer has been into the pits more than everybody else, as Tyler Dittmer was involved in that opening crash. As pace car pulls off once again, let's go back to green for one time to go here in stage number 3. And like always, Wilson and Lothian dive all the way down to the tri-oval to gain as much ground as they can, as Keith Bradley and Michael McKinnon stay on track as Tyler Dittmer gets a bad restart, and he's 3 wide. As they race through the backstretch. And with the lights coming out on track, the track temperature has dropped, which is allowing more tires to have more grip, but also changes the handling of some of these cars, depending on the setup. But the good thing is, this setup, it's all fixed. So everybody's got the same setup, but we get a little bit loose. Michael McKinnon gets a little bit loose, and so did Robert Richards. Robert Richards took a big hit into the wall, and Richards got a lot of damage as he's falling through the field as everyone's trying to find a direction. But a big moment right there. For Michael McKinnon and Robert Richards. Let's take a look at what happened right here. Here's what happened. Robert Richards gets dinged into the wall. And it happened with Michael McKinnon. As I'm trying to find out what exactly happened, but Michael McKinnon and Keith Bradley, this is the lap before. Here it is. Michael McKinnon and Christopher Cinnamon getting into each other. And oh, this is a weird incident for Robert Richards, but Robert Richards entered into the pits now as Bradley Wilson and Blake Lothian use that advantage behind them to Keith Bradley, and they got a solid second gap to third place, and you know they got to work together and try to make this gap even bigger. But Keith Bradley, he's on his own. He might start thinking about some tire wear, some tire saving, and be better later on in this run as we enter lap 70. Tyler Dittmer, Chris Cinnamon, absolute craziness happening right there. Cinnamon, you can see, was involved in that incident. He's got a lot of damage on that back spoiler of his. And being in the playoffs, he should have that yellow spoiler on, but he's deciding that it's just a little bit late to know about that party. But don't worry, we got you in the numbers. Cinnamon and Dittmer, both of them dealing with different types of spoiler damage, which is going to do a little bit different things to the car. What Cinnamon's spoiler is doing, it's a little bit kinked in on the back. As let's go on board of Tyler Dittmer's car and take a look at that. So it's a bit kinked in and lifted up. Now it's going to give him some more outside edge right there, but it's going to allow the car to push up the track a lot more. Now, Tyler Dittmer's spoiler is very caved in. That's going to be giving him a bigger draft bubble behind him and allow cars to follow him much more. But it's going to be hurting him in the top speed-wise as they all pass Dan Gallup. He's got a lot of damage to that front end and just engine damage and not really helping at all. But you can see this group behind Tyler Dittmer is really sucked up behind him as the 81 of Taylor Peacock, he's got some front end damage right there. He's going to be hurting with some engine rev loss as well. And there's the number 12 of Jesse Siraj on the inside. Tyler Dittmer, they're going to be sharing this lead right here, but very nicely running from all these drivers, and they avoided that incident very nicely. Up here, Zach Adams, he's got a nose caved in just a little bit. He's going to be hurting for some top speed and try to stay in the draft to Michael McKinnon, who knows what he's trying to do, and he's going to dive down low and try to get back up to Keith Bradley. As Joey Duquette holding around the outside, Jesse Siraj, big gap racing right here, big pack racing right here, has almost contact with Tyler Dittmer. Duquette in that purple truck, mean purple machine, looking down to the inside and getting a good run through turns 3 and 4. He's got the nose ahead, but it gets a little bit loose, gets a tap from Dittmer. Now, the tires are coming into play. Only 15 laps from where we restarted, but it's so easy to wear out these tires, especially on a very abrasive track like Chicago is, with all the bumps and just like little teeth that just eat away at the tires. Like termites, but rubber. Rubber mites. Slowly losing my mind here. Ganoisky on the inside of Tyler Dittmer. Ganoisky getting a good run. He's on that bottom line. Needs to adjust the throttle. Tyler Dittmer very struggling with coming off those curves with that damage on his rear wing. Taking away a lot of grip that he has, and I feel like he is just dropping back to the end of this pack in case, just to try to fight that very bad pushing at the end of the corners. Just pushes out wide, just won't stop pushing out there, and just trying to avoid the wall. As Siraj almost gets a little bit of contact right there. Duquette is sideways from Taylor Peacock. A big slide from Joey Duquette. Saw him slide up the track, come back down, and got a little bit sideways as Taylor Peacock got into him. But incredibly, Joey Duquette saved that. As Stephen Gregory is falling to Michael McKinnon, or is catching up to Michael McKinnon, I believe caught up and is now trying to pass him. Gregory up into 4th, and now we got a good battle for 4th place, but also we got a battle for the lead. Our 3 leaders have joined back, and Keith Bradley has joined back on them, and I think Bradley has the better tire life out of all these guys. He wasn't battling at all, just took it easy, and using his real-life experience, might have worked those tires into a good zone right there, and has a little bit fresher grip than the 2 rivals of his. He can stay out for a little bit more too, with those fresher tires and not be penalized by it. But caution is out, and is that Tyler Dittmer? I am not sure why. It is. Oh, big smoke right there. It's Ganoisky and Jonathan Munda. Oh, no. And Ganoisky and Jonathan Munda get into each other, and around goes Ganoisky, pulling up a smoke screen as Jonathan Munda plowed into his side. And that is big. Oh, big incident right there. That's going to bring in a little bit of strategy for our drivers. Who's going to be taking this caution and taking this free pit stop? It's looking like it's going... Oh, a fakie! Big fake play by Bradley Wilson. He got a few drivers right there, but it's a split decision. Chris Cinnamon, Joey Duquette, Taylor Peacock, Jesse Siraj, Jonathan Munda, Tyler Dittmer, and Ben Ganoisky racing into the pit lane. They're going to try to go for that early stop and get the fresh tires and try to just manage their way all the way to the end. And if another caution comes out, that is game over for them. But if it stays green, this might be game over for Bradley Wilson, who would still have to make a green flag pit stop, and the rest of them. So strategy is up in the air here on Racecraft TV for the Triple M Pulling Truck Series, round 1 of the playoffs here in Chicagoland. We'll be right back. Let me go back to green flag racing. This Racecraft TV stream is brought to you by Artesian Builds. Artesian builds high-quality custom PCs made to order for a low price. Contact Artesian Builds today to get started on your own custom PC as low as $64 a month. All Artesian builds are made live on stream. You can watch your builds and talk to the builders live at twitch.tv/Artesian Builds. For more information about Artesian Builds, check the link in the description. Welcome back to Racecraft TV. We're back here live at Chicagoland underneath the lights on lap 83 of 134. We're going to go back to green when that number hits 84. And our quick math wizards in the chat going to be about 50 laps to go. That Phantom 3 just came out there. I made that up. Do not take that one to heart as I've lost my mind. But it's Wilson and Lavian are leaders, but the first leader on new fresh tires, it is Chris Cinnamon in that number 3. So we're going to ride on board with him. I'm going to show you the differences of these new tires as Cinnamon and Tyler Dittmer had the freshest tires in the field, and look how that number 8 could not get away. Now watch this speed through this corner on these fresher tires. Dittmer, Cinnamon, both of them going down low, get ahead of Adminson. As our leaders stay in a straight line, they know people on fresher tires are there. Dittmer falling down to 9th place right there as Chris Cinnamon is on the tail of Cody Knott. Blake Lavian and Wilson, though, side by side, and Lavian down low for the lead. Wilson and Lothian still no still almost bump drafting with each other, which is very good to keep that speed up. Lothian switching down to the inside, side by side, getting some good pace right there. But the more he does that, the more tires he's just going to be pulling away, and just really hurting his speed throughout the race. And well, we know Keith Bradley, he loves saving those tires, but Tyler Dittmer, he is on a charge with Chris Cinnamon, and all these drivers trying to catch up. But look at Tyler Dittmer, the speed he comes out of that corner. Dittmer up into 4th place. Dittmer up into 8th place. He is car number 4, not 4th place. And he actually gets up there to 7th place and getting ahead of Chris Cinnamon. But remember, Chris Cinnamon has a little bit of damage, but all these drivers, except for Cody Knott and Jesse Siraj, are on new tires. Actually, Jesse is on new tires as well. But they aren't working together. They're working against each other right now. If they're on those new tires, I'd be using those advantages to catch up to those leaders and just try to scare them into making some green flag pit stops very soon. Looking at our leaders right there on 26 lap old tires. I made the prediction to lap 35 to lap 40 on these tires is going to be the limit around lap 100. When we get there is going to be the point where everyone's going to go into the pits as Dan Gallant staying on that outside line. A little bit of mischievous activity right there as Wilson almost just drove into the back right there of the car. That's 28 laps down. So around 10 laps to go here, so until we see our first attempt at green flag stops, which will really show how fast these guys are and who's got the better strategy, who's got the better pit crew, and who's probably buying the entire pit crew a beer after this. If they're old enough to drink alcohol. If they're not, well, it's a computer program, so they're just going to be drinking libations, I think it was in Tron. Yeah, they serve libations in there. Is that blue milk? I think... Star Wars, why was it blue milk? You know, if you know about Star Wars and you know why blue milk is blue milk, you know where blue milk comes from, yeah, put that in the chat. I would like to know. And if you have any sort of drink for celebrating a win, what would you drink? I would like to know. Put that in the chat, and we can have a discussion about that. You know, if I drink, I would just have a nice good old Coca-Cola. Maybe some champagne, but I don't drink that much, so alcohol-free champagne. Also known as sparkling cider. I'm weird. Sherrod's getting a little bit worked up right there, pushing a little bit as the Cinnamon staying on the outside lines, got a lot of damage on that back right panel of his car as Siraj and Dittmer going away. Of course, blue milk is blue from the animal if it's all blue. Alright, I feel stupid. Back to racing. Cinnamon, Jesse Siraj, and Cody Knott. All three of these drivers just trying to manage their way and continue racing on this race. They're sitting very nicely as Chris Cinnamon and that number 3 is Tyler Dittmer and Stephen Gregory race out with each other. Stephen Gregory are still hardest charger for Southern Auto Glass, hardest charger award. Up 19 spots, sitting up there in 6th place. But he's got Tyler Dittmer up there on those newer tires. He's going to take away one lap right there, one spot. He was looking around the outside right there, but it is not going to be beneficial, as all these leaders who are still on those fresher tires are just going to try to go as long as they can, as Dimmer gets a good move down low and goes all the way over to the tri-level. Dimmer up into 6th place and looking at the leaders. But Dimmer needs to be smart about his tire strategy. He's got the grip, yes, but he needs to be managing these tires as long as he can, because he went into the pits early. He's going to be dealing with about 50 laps of racing to deal with, as Dan Gallant is just very slow on that top line. He might... How fast is Dan Gallant going? Dan Gallant's last lap time was 37 seconds. And that's closing in on that 107% rule. He might be forced to park if he's not able to go faster. We're looking at our battle for 2nd place. Keith Bradley and Blake Lothian nose tail with each other, as Bradley Wilson's pulled away from 2nd place. Closing in on that predicted lap 100 green flag pit stop for our drivers. Let's bring up our stint length. They've been on these tires and fuel longer than any other stint here today. 35 laps on these tires. Say about 5 more laps to go on fuel. We're going to start seeing drivers head into the pits very soon. But a 1.2 second gap to 2nd and 3rd place from Bradley Wilson. And ooh, big shot to the wall goes Keith Bradley, shooting up some spots. Dan Gallant. I now know why Dan was racing and just driving around the track. He gained 3 spots from that caution. You know, Dan, when you just gotta do that, you gotta do that. Are you still on the track right now? Is Dan still on the track? Dan's typing the message while driving. Dan, eyes on the road. Wow, Dan. That's classic, man. Texting in chat. I gained 3 spots. Well, thank you for that in-race report. As Stephen Gregory, first driver to head into the pit lane. Now, that's an interesting choice by Gregory. He didn't go into the pits. This is his 3rd pit stop. But first one to go, not in our leaders. I expect our leaders to be taking as much time as they want, but Tyler Dimmer is closing in on our leaders, as well Bradley Wilson stays out, as well as the rest of the top 5, as we pass 102 here in Chicago. As Dan Gallant gets the official likes to text to drive on his little driver profile. "36-year-old from Perflaw. Playoff driver looking for a better result in the upcoming races here in the Triple M Truck Series playoff round. Hopefully doesn't cause an accident while texting." Take a look back at our leaders. They're still staying out. We're going for a long run here, and there's a big smoke in the background. Is that Tyler Dittmer? Tyler Dittmer has blown an engine. Tyler Dittmer has blown his engine. The 20-year-old from Gore, Virginia, the Lizard Works 4, unfortunately has blown his engine. With just 30 laps to go, Tyler Dittmer went in for new tire. Did not go in for new tires. just blown his engine. I think he overheated his engine from that damage, and unfortunately will not be able to complete this race. You can see the smoke fuming out of it. Does not look like he's going to be bringing out the caution here, but very unfortunate. Makes another lap and bringing it into the pit stop, but that is so unfortunate for Tyler Dittmer, as his engine goes this late in the race. The good thing is he's 30 laps ahead from Dan Gallant, so if Dan, I don't think Dan can catch him and get another spot gained. Sorry about that, Dan, but I know you're watching. I have to say that. And now Wilson, 1.7 seconds in the lead. He's staying out still. A lot of these drivers are still staying out. Let's bring up our track map and take a look at the positioning throughout the field. Our yellow dots are our playoff drivers. The red dots, well, they just liked red in their car and, you know, just happened to be red. I do know Cody Knott's car is blue, as we're dealing with lap traffic here with Lothian and Bradley staying on that outside line with Michael McKinnon. Who's going to be the first driver to go into the pits? It's going to be our leader, Bradley Wilson, into the pit lane first. And the only driver into the pit lane. And now our three-way battle for second is now our three-way battle for first. How long are these drivers going to be staying out? Are they going to go for more? Mike Adminson is going into the pits. Keith Bradley staying high. Michael McKinnon slowing down. Michael McKinnon notioning that he's going to go into the pits. Here comes Michael McKinnon. It gets a little bit wide right there, but he's slowed the car down enough. McKinnon into the pit lane. That promotes Cinnamon up into fourth. Now it's Keith Bradley and Blake Lothian racing around. Bradley Wilson is a lap down right there, back in 13th place to our leaders. He's got a few drivers who went in on lap 80 ahead of him, and he needs to get up to speed as fast as he can. But Keith Bradley and Lothian almost hit contact with each other as they're avoiding Dan Gallant right there. Very close contact as Zach Adams goes into the pits. But our two leaders staying out right here. Bradley Wilson in 10th place now. And you're going to see the speed he's got on his truck. He is moving it through the grid. Keith Bradley and Lothian still staying out. So number 3 is Cinnamon ahead of Bradley Wilson. He's going to shoot the moon through the gap right here. You're going to see the speed he has and the grip he has around the outside. Then number 3 is Cinnamon. And that's 3rd place right there. So he's definitely got the speed on our leaders with 24 laps to go. When are Keith Bradley and Blake Lothian going to go into the pits? They're staying out some more with 23 laps to go. You know, if a late caution comes out, this would be disastrous for Bradley Wilson, who just set the new fastest lap of the race. 31 seconds dead compared to the 32.61 that Blake Lothian and Keith Bradley has just set. They're just ahead, and it appears that they're slowing up. Both of them slowing up to a near dead stop. Our leaders are heading into the pit lane. And Lothian, but Bradley Wilson has got his lap back. Christopher Cinnamon is staying out there still to be our leader. Ganoyski staying out as well. Actually, Ganoyski is, where is Ganoyski? Where's that number 4 at? Oh, he's into the pits as well. Yeah, Ben Ganoyski stayed out. Who's going to be winning this race off of pit road from our leaders? But more importantly, Bradley Wilson is going to be jumping our old leaders and retaking 4th place right here, but just barely ahead of Chris Cinnamon, who is immediately out of the shot, but Cinnamon is no longer a lap ahead of Wilson, who is the first driver on new tires, followed by Stephen Gregory, who went in on lap 100, Michael McKinnon lap 108, Zach Adams 109, and then here's Keith Bradley and Blake Lothian on lap 112. They're on the freshest of the fresh tires right now, and that little advantage might be helping them throughout the race with 20 laps to go. But this field is in a strategy nightmare right now, especially if a late caution comes out, which we don't know if it's going to happen. But if you're Bradley Wilson, you're clear right now because you are on the lead lap. But if you're Zach Adams, you would be in the worst spot possible. And if I was Zach Adams, I'd be racing for that spot to get my lap back. But don't worry, because that is your leader right there, Chris Cinnamon, on the outside line of the track. And, well, there goes Michael McKinnon getting his lap back. Zach Adams is the lucky dog. And we got a report that almost happened. Robert Richards went off the track. And there's Robert Richards. He's going slow. What's happened right here for Robert Richards? He's coming out of the pit road, and he's lost the back end, getting into the grass, and almost brings out the caution this late in the race, and that would have turned this race on its head, sideways, upside down, put it onto a roller coaster, and blocked it away in the fun house right there. As we're seeing Michael McKinnon and Zach Adams battling out side by side for 6th place. And which is surprisingly right ahead of our leader, Chris Cinnamon, who hasn't gone into the pits yet, but who is miles ahead of 2nd place. 10 seconds ahead of Goodnoisky. 20 seconds ahead of Duquette. 23 seconds ahead of Bradley Wilson, our first driver on new tires. Duquette, Goodnoisky, Cinnamon still haven't gone into the pit lane. This is a very big gamble from these 3 drivers. And here's Stephen Gregory. He's being caught by Zach Adams now. Gregory, who went on to the earliest pit stop on lap 100, being caught by Zach Adams, as Zach Adams pounding the numbers right now, as we have a tie for the Hard Charger Award at 20 between Stephen Gregory and Joey Duquette. Well, it's now belonging to Joey Duquette at 20 spots overtaken, as Zach Adams takes 5th place from Stephen Gregory. And speaking of overtakes, Bradley Wilson is closing in on the 16 mean purple machine of Joey Duquette. They went in on lap 80. They're trying to make these tires last to the end. Can they stay ahead of Bradley Wilson? Can Chris Cinnamon manage his field long enough to stay ahead of Bradley Wilson and manage 52 laps? We're going to bring up our pit strategy, see how long Wilson was able to go. He was able to go 45 laps on these tires. Some drivers were able to go 50 laps on these tires. 50 laps on fuel with Chris Cinnamon. 39 laps, as well as Goodnoisky went 39 laps. 10 more laps left on these tires. I do not think Chris Cinnamon can make it 10 more laps with 14 laps to go. It's physically impossible to do that, but if you're going to stretch the numbers, you're going to have to do it. 19 seconds separate Wilson and Cinnamon. This could be a big strategy call for Chris Cinnamon. But Wilson is closing in multiple seconds a lap. He is an entire second faster than Chris Cinnamon. 18 seconds to go for Wilson and Cinnamon, but only 13 laps left. If they keep this pace, and if Cinnamon is able to keep this, Chris Cinnamon will be just leading by 4 seconds at the end of this race to Bradley Wilson. Ben Goodnoisky is just ahead for Bradley Wilson in that number 30. He's currently sitting in turns 4 as Wilson is entering turns 3. He's 5 seconds ahead of Bradley Wilson. Math is absolutely crazy. Speaking of crazy, this strategy call is insanity. As well, we got a big battle right here. Keith Bradley carving up the field as he's on the tail of Michael McKinnon. Keith Bradley, who is on the freshest tires. Ganoyski goes into the pits. Man, Ganoyski couldn't hold the tires as long, and he decided to go into the pits as Keith Bradley on the freshest tires in the field and might try to go for the overcut here as he has the fastest car in the field. But Michael McKinnon's not going to give Wilson at all any gap with 11 laps to go. Bradley gets ahead of Wilson for 4th place. And for that 3rd place here with 10 laps to go if Cinnamon's able to keep it. And actually, he might try to catch Zach Adams, who's just barely ahead of the road. But Zach Adams and Keith Bradley, they did not go into the pits at the same time. Just only 3 laps difference, though. But that could bring a lot at the end of a run. 10 laps to go for Chris Cinnamon, who is 14 seconds ahead of Bradley Wilson. And let's bring up our lap time history between our two leaders. A second, 8/10 gain for Wilson last time by 7/10 gain between Wilson and Cinnamon. And Chris Cinnamon, 8 laps to go now. Can he manage his tires and fuel? 8 more laps to keep this win and keep the pace. He puts in a 33.089. One of his slowest laps by 2/10. He is lifting. He is coasting. He is saying shaman prayers to keep as much fuel into the tank as possible. 1.1 seconds difference between last lap between Wilson and Cinnamon. And it's not enough. Chris Cinnamon is in the pits. Unbelievable. He tried his best, but unfortunately Chris Cinnamon didn't have it in him. He's going to go into the pits, and that's going to give the lead to Bradley Wilson now, who is 7 seconds clear of Zach Adams. And now Zach Adams needs to worry about the car behind him, Keith Bradley, as Keith Bradley is now no longer in the fight for 3rd. He's in the fight for 2nd place and a big hunk of stage points. But Bradley Wilson, 7 seconds in the lead, looking for his first win in the Triple M Truck Series, and what a way to do it in the first round of the playoffs. As Zach Adams and Keith Bradley race on in that battle for 2nd, and you're going to see the speed between them. Bradley is getting just a little 10th here, a little 10th there, and that's slowly giving him an advantage. He's 5/10 back, half a second behind him, and he is closing in some more as Keith Bradley is looking hungry. Plus another 10th for Bradley. This time by another 10th, almost 2/10 right now. Zach Adams is within striking distance. 5 laps to go between them in this fight for 2nd here at Chicagoland for the Triple M Pulling Truck Series here on Racecraft TV. The 39 staying down low in that NASRA car, just trying to stay. Dane Hagen just trying to get as much laps and get those critical spots on as Tyler Dittmer falls down to 17th. Dan Gallant, he's still trying to get Dan Gallant's still trying to get Tyler Dittmer. But Bradley's got the speed. He's dancing on the bumper. He's almost locked bumpers with Zach Adams as they are separate just by 0.2 now. Three laps to go for Bradley Wilson, Zach Adams, and Keith Bradley. Also, Blake Lavian is on the bumper of Michael McKinnon. Lavian wants 4th place now. Lavian, 5-lap newer tires than McKinnon. McKinnon going a little bit wide. Lavian trying to push those tires as much as they can. 2 laps to go. Who's going to be getting these spots on tires and who's going to be getting it just by strategy? Zach Adams and Keith Bradley still in that fight for 2nd place. But Keith Bradley has fallen down to 4/10 of a second behind. But it's white flag in the air for Bradley Wilson, who is clear 5 seconds of everybody in this race. As we're looking at our fight for 2nd and our fight for 4th as McKinnon and Lavian side by side. McKinnon is able to swing it around the outside and coming around the final corner, taking his first win here in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. It's Bradley Wilson. Zach Adams comes home in 2nd place, followed by Keith Bradley. Michael McKinnon is going to come home in 4th place, followed by Blake Lavian. And my goodness, a little bit of smoke celebration up there. But man, I can tell you one driver that is over the moon is the 51 Toyota Tundra CGE machine of Bradley Wilson. As he takes a big wave to the fans, he comes back to the front straight. Finally, a winner here in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. Bradley Wilson about to burn it down here in Chicago. Burn it down here in Chicago. All right, he's going to do his own thing. And there's Dan Gallant giving the CGE nose bump. And there we go. Burning it down here in Chicago. And somehow Dan Gallant has more horsepower than Bradley Wilson. There we go. Wilson just needed a jump start. What a race we had here today. Came down to strategy in the end, and Bradley Wilson had the strategy, had the car, had the speed. Let's take a look at our race results here. Bradley Wilson takes the win, followed by Zach Adams. Keith Bradley finishing out that podium in 3rd place, followed by Michael McKinnon, Blake Lavian, Stephen Gregory, Jesse Siraj, Cody Knott, Chris Simon, Taylor Peacock, Jonathan Munda, Ben Godoyski, Mike Adamson, Joey Duquette, Dane Hagan, Robert Richards, Tyler Dittmer, just barely ahead of Dan Gallant, who tried his best to get ahead of Tyler right there by going on this last, but he managed to finish in 18th place, followed by Brandon Bullock, Dustin Scruggs, Eric Zimmerman, Stephen Thomas, Tyler Daniels, Jeff Sickles, Dale Avison, and Raul Meza at the end of the grid. What a race, as Bradley Wilson, well, he's selling up some smoked ribs after this race as he's blown his engine. And let's go talk to our race winner. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe this is his first time winning here in the Triple M Pulling Truck Series. Welcome, Bradley Wilson.
Oh my god, it's a long time coming.
The monkey is certainly off the back, is it?
Yeah, it really is. It's hard to put into words.
I can tell you what, you're probably going to go for a Shenandoah Shine after this, aren't you?
Hopefully.
Well, you took the win in dominant fashion. What did you know that you were going to go into the pits on lap 107? Did you practice that, or did you just flip a coin and guess? What was the strategy
Uh,
behind your call?
I really didn't have a strategy at all for green flag pit stop. I asked my teammate and team owner Dan Gallant if what he was going to do or what he would do if he were me, and he said pit at lap 17. So
Well,
I
I know
pitted on
Dan
lap
was pulling double
107.
duty. He was texting while driving in the chat, so he might have done a little bit of a trickery right there and ran some numbers for you.
Yeah, Dan's a great teammate and great team owner. I love the man.
Well, I think he's going to be happy with you as you punch your ticket into the second part of the playoffs of the next cut line, which you were already leading the championship points, but without winning a race. Now that you won the race with that monkey off the back, are we going to be seeing you on that top step a little bit more now?
I'm hoping for it. I'm hoping to win the next 3 races.
Oh, we're making it hard for everyone else.
Yeah, I still got my teammate to make sure he secures a spot into the final 4.
All right. Well, congrats on the win, Bradley. Before we let you go and celebrate, anybody you want to thank?
White Knuckle Esports, CGE, Shenandoah Shine, Full Throttle Batteries, my dad for supporting me and buying me iRacing about a year ago. It's been a lot of fun. Y'all for broadcasting the series. Keith Bradley and Blake Lothian for running me really hard up front. It was a lot of fun the whole race.
Well, I can certainly say that everyone who supports you is jumping at the moon right now. Congrats on the win, man. You have yourself a great night.
All right, you too.
As we are now joined by Zach Adams, who finished in second place in that 71. Hey, with 8 laps to go, you didn't know that you were in second place until we saw Cinnamon dive into the pits. Zach, how was that race, and what was that strategy call like?
Yeah, it's a pretty good race, you know. We ran the top. Everybody was running the top there in the beginning, and then there's the sun went down. We were all going to the bottom and really making a stick and putting down some pretty good lap times. It's a quick racetrack.
Chicago is certainly a quick racetrack, especially in these trucks. How's it like driving out there when you start at the sunrise and then go into sunset and I don't know what I just said, sunset into darkness? How does that track evolution affect your driving style? Because I see that you got into a little bit of a ding-dong with the wall at times.
Yeah, that wall come out there and bite you. That was my biggest worry, was the wall. Been practicing a lot this week and bounced it off the wall a few times. And I think I only did it once here and held her together. But yeah, that sun up to sundown, that transition, that's pretty cool. The way the track comes into play, different grooves, and first one to, try something. Usually everybody else rolls with it afterwards to see him fast,
All right, well, with the playoff cut approaching, what are your plans for the upcoming races, and how are you feeling about them?
Feeling pretty good about them. Just gonna need lots of practice and a lot of good luck.
All right, well, congrats on a podium here. And you, sir, have a good night. But before I let you go, anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Racecraft. I'd like to thank you boys for putting the broadcast on. Michael McKinnon and the NASRA boys for putting the race on. And thank my teammates, Taylor and Steven and Brother Racing.
All right, congrats, man. And well, speaking of your brother racing, let's bring in Keith Bradley. Keith, how was that race, man?
It was rough. Today's was a struggle. I lost my uncle earlier this morning, and I contemplated on not running. But I mean, the track was different. You could run the top at the beginning of the run, and then towards the end of the run, you could run the bottom. And I just couldn't figure it out at the end.
I'm sorry to hear about the loss of your uncle right there. I'm sure he's smiling down at you right there, getting up on the podium and doing something you love in his respect.
Absolutely.
Well, you came in on lap 112. You pitted with Blake Lothian, And you and Blake were racing nose to tail pretty hard, and you managed to outmaneuver him and get yourself free and finish up in third. How was that race, and how was that final green flag pit stop?
Man, it was a lot of fun racing with Blake. I was trying to stay out as long as he did. And then when he announced over the driver's chat that he was coming in, I knew I needed to come in with him, get a better stop, come out ahead of him to even have a chance. And it kind of played out. I mean, I like racing with Blake, and congratulations to Bradley on the win. Well deserved. And it was actually a lot of fun racing in the draft, and I don't know how I got a better pit stop than him, but I did, and I'll take it.
All right, well, I'm pretty sure everyone is feeling a little bit better. Hopefully everything's going good, but before we let you go, anyone you want to thank?
Absolutely. I'd like to thank Bill Lester, Over the Top Designs, everybody at Mission 1 Esports, Michael McKinnon for putting this on, you guys for putting this on, my buddy Wade Field spotting for me tonight. It was fun chatting around with him. Yeah, that's about it.
All right, well, congrats on the podium, Keith, and you have yourself a good night, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here on Racecraft TV for the Triple M Pulling Truck Series here at Chicago. Round 1 of the playoffs is in the books, and that goes to Bradley Wilson, who put out a statement today, and he's not going to make this easy for the rest of our playoff drivers as he takes the win. And I just got to say thank you, everybody who joined us here today. I'm Austin Knight with Austin Knight's Crazy Mind, joined by Austin Knight's Even Crazier Mind. You're here watching Racecraft TV, and I hope y'all have a good night. This Racecraft TV stream is brought to you by Artesian Builds. Artesian builds high-quality custom PCs made to order for a low price. Contact Artesian Builds today to get started on your own custom PC as low as $64 a month. All Artesian builds are made live on stream. You can watch your builds and talk to the builders live at twitch.tv/Artesian Builds. For more information about Artesian Builds, check the link in the description.